everyone, welcome back to another edition of Movies That Move We. She's back.
Hi.
So, today we're talking about you people.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a short conversation, guys.
Yeah.
So, where do we begin with this one?
It was definitely a cute kind of like romantic comedy type vibe. It just wasn't giving what I thought it was gonna give. I guess is how I can like say it.
Yeah, ditto. I was watching it last night, as a matter of fact, and I texted her and was like 17 minutes in. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. Like she said, it was okay. The middle part, came together, gave you the ha ha, oh my god, that's funny, and oh my gosh, yeah, I've experienced that before, but they could have done a lot more with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in that first 17 minutes, my biggest problem was there was nothing realistic about their interaction when they first met. Because I don't know a woman, I don't know a black woman in particular, that after somebody gets into their car and goes, whoa, 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 you're my Uber driver, after realizing, he honestly thought that was his Uber driver, that would then turn around and go, let me give you a ride because I can't be late for work.
Mm-mm.
No. And when I say black woman, like I said before, I don't know any woman, much less a black woman, that's going to deal with that. I think they could have found a better way.
Like, I feel like they could have had them run back into each other again somewhere else. The film altogether could have just been a little bit more complex because I feel like it was very simplified. That's the other thing I want to say. I just feel like everything kind of happened so easily instead of it being like... And then it was like this fairy tale kind of way of thinking about... I feel like things could have been a little bit more complex. I feel like there could have been more of, I guess... Even between the characters, like the dynamics that they had, it was just kind of like, I feel like there could have been a little bit more complexity to it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more of a struggle or conflicts or whatever. It was just like, yeah, stuff would come up, stuff would happen, arguments would happen, things like that. But then it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, it's all like rainbows and butterflies and everything's fine again. Like, it just wasn't, yeah, it wasn't realistic to me.
Yeah. In talking about the parents, this film relied heavily on tropes. The stereotypical Jewish mother, the intense, just shy of Hotep Muslim father. I'll say this, I've never seen a ditzy man. Jonah Hill played ditzy.
Yeah.
Pretty
I mean, he usually will play kind of that character, but it was just like, okay, you're just like this clueless the whole movie.
Yeah, there's no
and
way. They're socially awkward.
Even when he went to go meet the parents, I was like cringing on that one because I was like,
yes, why would you go alone?
No, it wasn't even just the going alone thing. I feel like, if a man is, has intentions of being with a woman and he knew that she wasn't gonna just agree to like just do it willy-nilly, then I could see like him pulling the parents aside secretly and be like, hey, I just want to get to know you guys on a personal level. But what it was for me was, it was just like the stuff he was saying and the way he was like rambling on and like some of the inappropriate stuff, even though, yeah, that should have been like
nervous. You get the nervous.
Yeah, like that was supposed to be like the comedy in it, I guess. But it's like, it would have still been comedic if like he maybe like stumbled on a couple things, but not like, I just feel like anybody with common sense wouldn't have mentioned some of the stuff he was talking about like to the parents. Like, I just thought it was like weird. I
think with that scene, and this is where I say certain things were just, come on, man, really? that was his first time meeting them, and he's going to propose to their daughter.
That was the other part.
It's like,
this is your first time meeting them.
I don't know a white man or a black man that would do that. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. If this scenario has happened to you, or if you were that black or white man, please chime in below, because it didn't make no sense to me. None whatsoever. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of serious moments that were okay. That was well stated, well done. And I'll say the first time they had the conversation about their parents, and they were like, okay, this isn't working. We have to do something. And they had a conversation about their points of view as far as how their ethnicities and religions are clashing. Mm. You know, even between them. You know, some of the things that they would say or do around each other that they kind of overlook, but they were reminded of it because of their parents' interaction. Mm-hmm. I think that was a beautiful, honest, and well-stated conversation. That was probably one of the best, I'm not even going to say heartwarming, but the best real moment in the movie. Yeah. And then, go ahead.
It still wasn't compelling enough for me.
Well, the second moment that I was kind of like, okay, now we're getting somewhere, mm-hmm. was at the, was it at the wedding or the rehearsal dinner? No, it was the wedding.
Or was it what was it? What happened?
It was the wedding, because they were, it was either a rehearsal dinner or the wedding. After Eddie Murphy's character stood up and gave the toast and pretty much outed Jonah for what
that was
happened.
At the rehearsal dinner.
He outed him for what happened at the bachelor mm-hmm. party that he wasn't invited to. And I think the mother also got up and said some somewhat awkward things. I don't recall. I'm not committing this. I don't want to waste the space. But anyway, how each one of them addressed both Ezra and what was her name?
Who, the girl?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Anyway, the way they both addressed the problem parents, which would be Eddie Murphy and then Jonah Hill's, who played Jonah Hill's mother. I can see her face and can't remember her name. I apologize, guys. But when they ran into each of their future in-laws, mm-hmm. they each took the time to address them. You know, Jonah Hill's character told Eddie Murphy, look, thanks for, not completely outing me, but I know an a-hole when I see one. It's pretty much what he ended with. Mm-hmm. And he also pointed out, you don't have to be happy with me, but I would think that you would be concerned about your daughter's happiness, and we love each other. Mm-hmm. But just because you don't love me, you're about to ruin her happiness. And then when
she checked the mom, I did like that part.
The way she checked the mom, I hated that Nia Long interrupted. I wanted her to finish her thought, but she pointed out, you're doing a lot. You're giving a lot of microaggressions. You're not genuine. You're sitting here and every time she would meet her or her mother or any of her girlfriends, oh my God, you all are so beautiful. And it's like, yeah, we know this. How about you say hello?
And the thing is
introduce
like, I
yourself?
appreciated it because it was like, you know, we meet so many of those types of people in life, and it's just kind of like,
And we
kind of
bear
give it, yeah, it's like, we'll kind of like give it a pass and be like, okay, she being nice, but there's just something about that.
That's not. It's as
Yeah,
though you're saying you expected me to be ugly.
the opposite, yeah, of what you're like
because
saying to
I'm
me.
black. So
Yeah.
and I think that part they really got well, as far as how she reacted, the verbals that she would say. Tropey, yes, their approach to it, but those little moments kind of were like you could find something in it to relate to. But I think what I'm not going to say it bothered me, because it's a romantic comedy, you want a happy ending. But I think the happy ending was, oh my god, really?
It wasn't realistic, but also I think the other thing for me too in the movie was I I I understand it's a romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I even understand the main characters that are in the roles. Mm-hmm. So it's like in their general personalities and what they've given us in other films, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Jonah Hill tends to be this really goofy, kind of like dippy dude or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think I would have liked to see somebody else play the part.
Yeah.
Or even if they switch Lauren London out, which I love Lauren London, don't get me wrong, but even if they changed her out with somebody else, I feel like maybe it would have felt a little bit different. Because not only were they just an unlikely pair, which the unlikely part is okay, I mean, if they actually did it right, but I don't feel like this movie did the whole unlikely pair thing right. What I did
they
like,
overdid it.
Yeah, it was kind of like they did it to a point where it's like, okay, this doesn't seem realistic. Or like, what if this girl is just with him because she don't want to be by herself or whatever? Like, it was giving me those vibes. It wasn't like, okay. It honestly, the other part to me too that bothered me was like, leading up to the love story, there was one intimate moment that I actually like. I got emotional by myself because I just thought it was so cute. And I'm like, oh, I wish that happened to me, kind of thing. But like when they were in the bedroom and they were under the blanket and he started playing, you know, music or whatever, and he played a song for her, that was probably the most romantic thing or in exchange that they really had. Like, it was like, I didn't really get like the storyline of like how these two people fell in love. See, it was kind of like we ran into each other one day. We started going out all the time and having dinner. We hung out all the time. We looked at sneakers and stuff together, and then boom, we're in love. Like, it wasn't giving like a lot of like build up or like exactly what she loved about him and what he loved about her. Like, it just wasn't giving that for me. So
it was totally opposites attract. And that's it.
But there was no even explanation of, okay, how do these opposites attract? Mm-hmm. What type of conversations did they have where I could say, okay, this is how they attract?
Or it was like even conversations that they may have had with friends that said, oh my gosh, whew, this one knocked me off my feet, and you know, first time I saw her, or you know, I didn't think he'd be my cup of tea, but then he did this thing, and I was like, you know what, I always wanted a guy to just something like that. But that scene, the reason why I'm sitting here smirking so hard is because, okay, by the time they panned up and under the sheets, I was like, okay, that's cute. Still not quite realistic, but okay, that's cute. But I was cracking up because they started at the feet. They started at the feet. You only saw her foot, and I'm like, are his feet that jacked up that you don't really see them rubbing feet?
And you know, the other piece of it, and I actually saw somebody make a comment about it on social media when the movie first came out. With Lauren London's situation, I could see why she doesn't want to do romantic scenes, sex scenes, kissing, things of that nature. That's fine. I get it. I completely understand. But I feel like if somebody else was casted, it would have given more. Like, if we got that romantic the kissing, the sex, all that,
you
like,
know what it is?
it would
The
have made a little,
chemistry.
like the chemistry
didn't have that
it
chemistry.
seemed like, oh, we're two buddies and we're kind of like together because, like, you know, we just have fun, but it wasn't giving me, I couldn't root for this couple. Usually when I watch a romantic comedy, because I have all that build up, because I see all of this interaction, there's friends that are involved, there's family that's involved, and we actually get to know the character on a deeper level. It's kind of like I couldn't root for this couple because it's like I don't know them. I don't know them. I don't know them individually. It's like I knew what Laura London's character did for a living, but it was like I didn't really know that until like the middle or end of the movie. Like it was kind of like, you know, it focused on his podcasting stuff, but it was like, okay, what is her thing? What does she enjoy doing? Like,
but in the beginning, that's what confused me, because I was like, you say you're going to be late for work. How do you have a job that it sounds like this is a regular job and you don't know how to get there? You know, if that's the trope they were going to use, it would have made sense to show each of them doing their thing before that.
I think how I would have tweaked it, I wish that, like, maybe that exchange happened. He got out of the car, maybe say, yo, like, I met this really, like, gorgeous girl today or whatever, you know, Uber driving, like, talking to his friend about it. And then, like, maybe, like, the next day they, like, ran into each other at Starbucks or some crap. Like, that's usually how romantic comedy goes when two unlikely people meet. It's like they may run into each other some other way, or even to better explain them as individuals, they could have been intertwined together at a work event or at some type of, like, thing that, something where, like, they both could have, like, kind of, we're an unlikely pair and we don't really go together, but we have a common interest. Like, for the sneaker thing. Like, that would have made sense to me.
Well, the sneaker thing, what would have made more sense to me is bumping into each other in the supermarket. They're both rushing to get their stuff. One of them runs over the other's foot and is like, yo, what's your damage? Why do you not look where you go? Do you drive like this? You know, have that whole, or maybe even aisle of a supermarket.
Maybe even, like, you know, he did something nice for her or something, like he saw she was struggling with something, and like he did something nice for her in that moment. She's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He did something real nice. And then when they ran into each other again, she's more intrigued. But it was kind of like when they first met, she was kind of like, weird, like, whatever. And then, like, magically they're going out on dates and all this. It's just like, it wasn't giving. That's all I have to say about the movie. It just wasn't giving.
And then the ending, I like the aha moment that Eddie Murphy's character had, and that he reached out to Jonah Hill's mom and was,
that was cute.
You didn't hear the conversation, but
but even that's something that could have been realistic. It's just like,
I don't know. It was cute, and then them getting together and apologizing on the street, and then, come on, let me show you. You don't know how long that period was, and all of a sudden there's a wedding with everybody that they know.
And then the other part that bothered me, this is the last thing I'm gonna say, but the other thing that bothered me was when they split up. Magically he's on a date with somebody else right after. Like, that really bugged me. Like, I would have liked to see him more, like, just in his bag, chilling by himself, focusing on his podcast and thing, and that been it. Why do we have to go where he's on a date with a white woman? He's back on a date. Like, it was just, birds of a feather,
you know.
Just like,
but even talking about that, you don't see her hook up with anybody else, and that feeds into the trope again that Black people don't have relationships, or Black women it's hard for them to find.
Lauren London's character was not really focused on at all. It was just like parents, Jonah Hill, and then she comes in, and then, like, it wasn't giving y'all. It wasn't. I don't think it was written correctly, or like
well enough.
I think it might have been a rushed film. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was
this was written by Jonah Hill and Kenya Barris, and you're familiar. If you don't know his name, you're familiar with his work if you've watched Grownish or Blackish, and he did another show that I absolutely hated, to be honest with you. But um, his approach is to be real in your face with how racism affects Black people, and when it's done right, you can go, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, because like Blackish and Grownish are great. Like I love those shows, right. But like
I haven't watched every episode. I've seen a few episodes of the show, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of times Kenya Barris comes off as real preachy.
I think the other thing too, which he gets accused of, which I don't know if it's true or accurate, but I think because he has a woman, he has a wife, I'm sorry, that is biracial. It's like he tries to kind of push that, like, biracial card a lot, or like the idea of a white person and a Black person getting together and how it works, and like it's just like, I mean, I feel like
it's a direction. It's a direction to take. Those are great stories to.
But why can't it be like an organic thing? It just seems very forced. Like I feel like those connections happen very organic. Like hell, I feel like romance in general is supposed to be an organic thing. It's not supposed to be forced. And I just feel like sometimes in his work, it's like he tries to it's like he fixates,
everything
like,
he does is about this. I think, and we'll wrap it up about here. I think what I would have loved to see, or what I would love to see from him in the future, just tell me a story. Tell me a story where you can drop anybody of any ethnicity into it, and it's a great story. Mm-hmm. You know, to me, that would be expanding his approach. And I don't know. I would love to see that. Or even, I don't know, instead of doing comedy, take a serious approach to it without being preachy. Take a serious approach to it. Tell us that story, if that's where you're gonna live.
He could even go as far as, you could still do a comedy, but like maybe it not be based on romance or something, or two people getting together. Like maybe it could just be like something else, like some other type of, maybe it could be, you know, I would honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see, because we have like the girls trip movies and all of that. Like we have the women coming together, Sister of the Traveling Pants vibe thing. Yeah. Like it would be cool to actually see like that done in like guy version. Like why can't we get like a guy's trip, or like a bachelor party type vibe kind of thing, where it's just focusing on like men and the way they're approaching their individual situations. I would like to see that too. Like, even though I'm not a guy, it's like, that would be kind of like funny to see their perspective on how they view things. Yeah. Or kind of like Why Did I Get Married? You know how like they showed like the side of like what the guys be doing and then what the girls. But it's like we haven't gotten a film where it's just focusing on what the guys be doing, and like that be that.
Yeah. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 5, dear daughter, what would you give this?
Probably like a 3 or 4. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably not gonna watch that movie ever again. Like it just wasn't interesting to me at all. Like it didn't make me want more. It was just kind of like, that was cute, and then like that was it.
Yeah, and I'm feeling the same way. I'll give it 3.5, and that half is real. I'll give it a 3.5. So, you know, if you're looking for something that's just, you don't have to store it, if you will. Something fun, you know. Get your wine, get your snacks, sit back and go, oh, this was that movie. Otherwise, yeah. That's all we got today, folks. So, hope you enjoyed this edition. We will be back next week. I'm not going to tell you what it is because things are subject to change, but the plan is to bring something dramatic for next week, something serious. Okay. So we'll see you next week. Leave your comments below. Tell us what you thought about this movie. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook. The group is Movies That Move We. We have 3 questions that you must answer. Simply answering the last question will not get you entry into the kingdom. Answer all 3 questions. Those questions are there so we can actually get to know you and heck, get some suggestions on some other movies that we may want to review. Join us there. Join us on YouTube. Media That Moves We is our page, and there you can hit the Movies That Move We playlist, and you can watch everything we've done in the last year. Year and a half, year. Okay, something like that. Go back and watch all of them if you want. We have plenty for you to check out. But anyway, we will see you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.